sometimes too, communication is not just in the words, it's also in the body language and sound of voice. Over to you, Sam.
All right, thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Kumayon, let's hear from you.
Yes, the best communication is through connection. When you are connected, definitely, you will definitely communicate effectively. I said earlier, communication in marriage is deeper than dictionary meaning. Yes, the way you look sends signals, especially when there is misunderstanding. So, for me, communication is not enough, but connection. And when you talk about body language, thank you. Body language, the way you say things, the way you act. I've only met 2 persons that when their body language is different from what they are saying. So when they say one, they can do like this, they can show you like this, and they are saying one in their mouth, they are saying one. So there is a problem with their brain. There is no connection between the speech and so in a marriage there must be correspondent the words and action. And let me tell you, trust will make your communication effective. Trust. When you trust each other, wow, that is the point of connection. So you need connection for effective communication.
Right, so it's 10 minutes past 8, so we already have 13 beautiful people in the house, so we are going to start right away, and hopefully every other person will join us when we start. All right, my name is Olumoshidera Bimbola, and I am a community manager for Love and Dating episode with Victoria Bamgbose, and I'm going to be your host for today, and you can tell from the smile on my face, I am pretty excited to do this, and not because I'm the community manager in quotes, but because of what we're talking about, and you know how important communication is in every area of life. It's very important that we understand how to communicate effectively. All right, so I'm not speaking to myself. So please, if you can hear me and you are here and you're ready to learn something, please kindly drop in the chat box. Hello, hi, good evening, I'm here. Anything. You can compliment my earrings, so I don't mind. Anything that works. So let me see you guys do something in the comment section. Hi, hola Biana, welcome. It's so good to have you here. All right, I'm expecting more people to respond to that chat because I'm not sure I'm speaking to just one person. Hello, hi Goswill, hi Esther, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's such an honor to be your host for today. Hello, Julia, honorable guest in the house. Thank you so much. Welcome. Thank you. Someone said she loves my smile. Thank you so much. I'm going to smile more often after this compliment. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's such an honor to be your host for today. And I'm really excited that I'm going to be managing this session. And I promise to give my best so that we can get the best out of it. So I want to assume that everybody joining us on this call is having their notepads, whatever you can write in, because the purpose of having this meeting is not just to talk. Gen Z will say cap. It's not just to cap, no. We're here to talk about something that's really important. And we are saying this because we're trying to manage a particular situation. And it's going to be very fruitful if at the end of the day, everybody just goes home and stick to what they know already. So I'm inviting you here again to come and learn, unlearn, relearn, anything you think you might have had in your head about, please do me the honor of having to review all of that, because we are all here to learn and we are also open to questions. So again, my name is Olomusdera Bimbola and I am the community manager, and today I'm going to be your host. So in case you are wondering what Love and Dating is, Love and Dating is a community of Christians, of people who are lovers of God, and we come together to be able to see how we can make Christian relationship work, literally. So everything we talk about here is on God's standard. So if you are here and you're a Christian and you're looking forward to having a godly relationship, welcome home. You're in the right place. And I'm not going to be speaking today. Yes, I know I've been talking. I'm not going to be the one speaking today. I have two amazing individuals in the house who will be hosting this session with me, who will be giving us from their well of knowledge. And we are open to questions. Please, that's why we have the chat box. So at any point where you get something that doesn't sit well with you or something that you think you need clarity on, please do well to use the chat box and we will attend to you. Welcome everybody once again. So tonight here we have two amazing people in the house, and with no particular order, we have Mr. Kumayon Kumasi. So Mr. Kumayon Kumasi is a counseling psychologist by profession, and is a Christian and a minister of God's word. So you see, we're not just calling someone that has the secular knowledge. We're calling someone whose knowledge is rooted in God's principle, and that's pretty much important. There's a particular thing I heard on it. I'm so sorry for that transmission. I'm so sorry about that. So where did I stop? I was trying to introduce you to the two amazing people that we have in the house who would be speakers. And I was mentioning something. I said people will say, if we as children of God do not talk about really these important things, the world will do that for us. And so that's why these two people that we are inviting to speak with us today, they are not just people that have the secular knowledge, but they are people whose knowledge are embedded in the principle of God, which is very, very important. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to invite our first speaker here for tonight. We have Brother Kumayon Kumasi. Mr. Kumayon Kumasi is an evangelist and is a counseling psychologist. So I'm going to read his profile so that you know that the person that I'm inviting here today is not just a regular person. It's someone that knows its onion and is ready to give us all the knowledge that we need. So Mr. Kumayon Kumasi is a registered member of Counseling Association of Nigeria. He is a security intelligence expert and international diplomat in conflict resolution and protocol. Master degree in counseling psychology, 2 degrees in English education and Christian ministry. He is married and is with children. He is a leader, a trainer, and a mentor. So if you can listen to what I just said, I should just introduce somebody that has knowledge, someone that has, someone that has all the experience and we willing to teach us all the things that we need today. So please, if you are just joining us, welcome. So please make sure that you have your notepad or whatever so that at the end of this class, you'll be able to take 1 or 2 things home. Thank you very much. Mr. Kumayon Kumasi, if you can hear me, please can you say hi to the house?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here with you, and I wish you the best experience tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Kumayon, can you hear me?
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sir.
All right, great. I greet everyone here and those who will be coming soon. I wish you the best experience tonight.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. All right. So we have somebody else in the house. And so this is the founder of Love and Dating. Love and Dating.
Oh, we sincerely apologize for that. We strongly believe that happens due to network. Good evening, everyone. We strongly believe she's going to join us very shortly. And just give us a few minutes. She's going to be back on this call. Thank you very much.
All right, so I was trying to introduce our second speaker tonight, and I said she's the woman who God has given this vision to. And she's one of the reasons why we are here, because she has seen it that she wants young people, young people who lack the right information, who needs to be, to be properly oriented, to understand what marriage is and how it works. And that's why we're here to learn one of the important things in marriage, which is effective communication. So join me as I welcome Mrs. Victoria Bamgbose. Yeah, welcome to the floor, Sister Victoria. Please, can you say hi to the house?
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm glad to be here today.
Good evening and welcome. I can tell from the sound of your voice they're pretty excited about this. And so am I. So I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be here. All right, so we already have some questions that we planned for this session.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is Kumayon Kumasi.
So, sir, can you tell us what are your expectations, or give us a background on some of the things that we should be expecting from you tonight?
Yeah, I know if you're getting me. I am Kumayon Kumasi by name. Tonight we are looking at communication in relationship, and communication is vital part of every human existence. Communication makes you human. Let me move on then. So we're looking at communication tonight. Communication is an old word, it's old idea. We have many people who have developed communication skills, style, and so on and so forth. In engineering, we have communication. In relationship, we have communication. In politics, in leadership, we have communication. But the one tonight is basically on relationship that has to do with male and female in relationship, to romantic relationship, to and all those things, So we are going to look at it tonight. And I promise you, if you don't have good relationship, healthy relationship, you are not human. So your existence is useless. So you cannot survive without effective communication. And to the matter of fact, you cannot even go to heaven without communication. So we are going to look at that tonight. Don't forget, life is all about communication. But something will come in different to communication, and that is connection. So when we get to that, we are going to link the two together, communication and connection. Thank you.
I like that, communication and connection. Let me take that down. So we'll come back to that. All right, thank you very much, sir, for that brief introduction. So let's listen to Sister Victoria. Sister Victoria, so what are you going to give us tonight? Give us an idea of some of the things that you might have planned for us. And yeah.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So tonight we will take a look at, signs of, bad communication. And because sometimes we don't even know that probably we are the bad communicator. So we're going to, probably share some signs so you can know if you're a bad communicator, and so you can know how to, make changes, and also so you can know how to detect, if someone is a bad communicator. Then we're going to look at some, questions, open-ended questions and closed-ended questions that can, help you to be able to communicate well. So these are many more the things we're going to be looking at this evening. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. We're expecting tonight. So please, if you are here and your phone is in the kitchen, maybe the phone is in the parlor and you're in the kitchen turning a bar or fufu, or you're trying to do some Netflix. No, please don't do that. So get your notepads and be ready to write and be able to learn and be ready to unlearn and relearn. And the first question that we have here is, how much communication is needed between couples in a relationship? How much communication is required, is needed in a relationship? So I'm going to start from Mr. Kumayon Kumasi.
All right. How much communication needed? We need 100% communication for us to be connected. But let me quickly say this. Communication in relationship, in the context of discussion tonight, is different from any other communication. In short, it is deeper than any definition you can find in dictionary. Because no verbal communication in the context of communication we are looking at tonight means a lot. So how much do we need? We need verbal and non-verbal, emotional and spiritual, physiological and financial, moral communication to meet the requirement for successful and sustaining relationship. Thank you.
Victoria, what's your think? Your take, rather. What do you think? How much communication is needed between couples in a relationship?
Well, communication is everything. Communication is just like the building block of a relationship, just like we have cells as the building block of our body. So communication is the building block of every relationship. Like the first thing you want to engage in is communication. Communication is how you get to know your partner, right? You can't know them, you can't get into their mind unless they talk, right? So and talking is just communication. So communication is everything. Like it's never too much, and it can be too little, and it's never too much. So relationship basically is all about talk and talk and talk and communication, and keep communicating. But yeah, so here today we're trying to look at how we can effectively communicate, because you can talk and talk and talk and not, communicate, right? So there's an effective way to communicate, and the other person would know that, you've passed an information across, because communication is also, passing information across and getting a feedback, so yeah.
All right, thank you very, very much for your patience with us. We are going to continue from where we stop, right? So the first question is just been addressed as to how much communication is needed between couples in a relationship, right? And we've heard the sides of Kumayon. You can also understand that communication is at the core of it. The 100% is needed, right? So at this point, we are going to have Mrs. Victoria. So let's hear from her. How much communication is needed between couples in relationship? Please, over to you.
All right, thank you, Sam, for stepping in for Abimbola. We really appreciate you. So I was saying the other time that communication is everything, and communication can never be too much. It can never be too much, and you can have too little of it. So meaning when you don't communicate, then everything is going to, you can enjoy that relationship. So it's more of, saying how you feel, communicating your needs, and, so it's everything is the building block of a relationship. So if a partner is not, if a relationship or a couple is not communicating properly, then there can be a huge problem and disaster in that home. So so communication can never be too, it can be too little, but it can never be too much. So communication is everything. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sister Victoria. Said communication is everything. It cannot be too much, but it can be too little. That's
Yes.
interesting. Thank you very much for sharing. So let's proceed. So let's talk about the importance of questions in bridging communication gaps. So how do we use questions? How do we know the right question to ask? There's this curiosity when people want to really know deeply, right? And in the process of that, say that asking questions could help. So we want to know what is the importance that asking questions play in bridging communication gaps. And this time around, I'm going to start from Mrs. Victoria. I'm going to start from you, then I'll go to Mr. Kumayon.
Okay, so when it comes to questions, yeah, there is a right way to ask questions and wrong way to ask questions, because questions are just, when it comes to relationship, questions are, we should look at questions in a very curious manner, right? Like, okay, you want to get to know what is in the mind of your partner, right? So we use questions to do that, right? And just like I said, there are right way to ask questions and wrong way. And today I'm going to share with you how to use open-ended questions, because open-ended questions are just questions that help you to get into the mind of your partner. They help you to know what they're thinking, how they're thinking, and those type of questions, help your partner to express themselves. And the other type of communication question is closed question. So closed questions are just questions that when you ask them, you either get yes or no answer. Like, okay, let me give you an example of a closed question. So a closed question is, how tall are you? Right? It's is a closed question because you're just going to give one simple answer, like, okay, I'm 5'2" tall, or I'm 5'3" feet tall, or So another question is, what is your favorite snack? You can just say, okay, my favorite snack is this or that, right? So a closed question is just like giving a yes or no answer. So when you're asking a question and the answer is yes or no, then you're asking a closed question. And that will not take you anywhere, right? It will not take you anywhere. Another closed question, maybe in a relationship, is asking, in the literary terms about have you eaten? A lot of people can be so annoyed with that question because is it that yes or no, right? It's not going to lead you anywhere, right? So but let me give you an example of open questions, because open questions are questions that help you to get, into the art, to get you to know your partner properly. And one of them is, what do you need from me, right? What do you need from me? That question it has a lot, that question is loaded because you're going to hear so many things. You're going to hear the needs of that person, right? Or how can I help you, That's a question that you're going to hear so much from that person. Another question is, what's your plan for this week? You're going to hear, because you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So you're going to have a lot, of response from your partner. Another one is, tell me about your experience. Like when you ask those type of questions, they help you to get to know your partner properly. So, but not asking the right questions can, leave you both wondering. And some people will be like, well, maybe they're shallow, like they don't have a lot to say, probably because you're not asking the right questions. Because when you ask the right questions, they can help you to unload a lot and you can get to know your partner well. Yeah. Thank you, Sam.
Wow,
Yes,
wow,
back
wow.
to you.
Wow. Thank you very much for sharing that with us, right? And I think don't let me say anything on that, right? So let me just go to Mr. Kumayon straight. Let's hear from him. Let's hear his perspective to this thing. She just made us to understand that they are open and they are ended questions. They are open-ended questions and they are closed set of questions. Some that you ask, they are very direct and simple, and some that dig into people and bring out things, thought processes, and the like. So please share from us, from your words of experience and expertise. What's your take on this?
All right. Question. Well, we need to know the emotional premise to know when to ask certain questions. From what my sister just dropped, that is a little bit more technical in the sense that either open-ended, one-word answer.
Mhm.
And such question is easily asked when you are angry. Yeah. Have you eaten? Yes. No. But the emotional situation, questioning is a Socratic method. It's a Greek way of self-discovery. Sometimes in relationship, question can make relationship getting worse. Women are designed to ask questions. Let me tell you that. Women are designed to ask questions. See, even what your wife knows that you need, she will still ask you. Please, men, let me tell you, if you don't understand, let me tell you to go and read Understanding the Principle and Power of Women. It's written by Dr. Miles Morrow, and he also has the opposite one, Understanding the Principle and Purpose of Men. See, a woman will always ask questions. A woman will always ask you questions. Sometimes their question can be provoking. Okay, I'm just coming. I'm hungry. And I came in, he said, should I serve you food? Come on. What you have served me before? What will you do if you don't serve me food? Let me. So, but the issue is this. In relationship, if you don't understand the makeup of the opposite sex, honestly, you are going to enter into trouble. So I will strongly advocate you should read the principles and power of women, understanding who a woman is, understanding who a man is, the thinking pattern of a man, the thinking pattern of a woman, so that you will know the right question to ask based on the emotional situation. If not, that your question will put you for trouble. All right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumayon. So asking question is not even a problem, but being also sensitive to your partner's emotion as to know what question to ask and how best to actually ask. So you can even be asking the right question the wrong time, and it will land you in trouble. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing. Now, having said this, there are communications and there's communication is one thing, understanding is another thing. And it's been said that communication is not complete until you pass a message and the person that you are sending the message to he or she is being able to decode and understand what exactly you are trying to say. So, which means that communication is not complete without a proper understanding. So, how do we build system around this? Looking at the fact that, see, someone has spent 23, 25, 30 years of their life, being their person, exploring their world, they have their mindset, they have the way they think, they have the way they operate and all of those things, right? And now you want to, try to understand each other. And you are saying something that it look as if you guys are not getting along. So how do we bridge this gap? How do we embrace, what are systems that we can actually use to actually bridge this gap and make sure that effective communication really takes place? You are able to express yourself. The person you are communicating to is able to get your message and you're able to actually progress. Because most of the time you hear people say, you are not understanding me. I say that I'm hearing you, I understand. I say, no, you are not understanding me. How do we deal with this? Dr. Maya, over to you. Please go first.
Okay, thank you very much. You see, number one, the foundation we lay in our relationship will take us far in understanding our communication. The foundation. You will take note that when people are in courtship, they seem to communicate more effective somehow. Most of us. And I remember my wife was asking me, see my husband, come on. Sometimes you will travel until you reach there before you come. I remember when we were dating, you will come in the morning, you will come in by 12, you will come in by 3. I said, I don't have a responsibility, of course. So why should I be calling you? Now we have plenty responsibility. You that I was calling, I've seen you finish. You have seen me finish. So the issue is that who is my wife? Who am I? That could be a personality test or temperamental test. Now, how do we understand the other person? How do we understand the other person? You don't understand people when they are angry. You understand them when they are at their best time. Now, for those who are in courtship and you are listening, please, if you don't mind, I will give you some topics that it will be a dating topic. Maybe once in a week when you meet or when you chat, you should discuss those topics. When you discuss topics, you will understand the perception of the other person. A topic that is not discussed, you will not know the belief system of the other person. So to have understanding, we have something we call MCB, mutual contextual background. Mutual contextual background. It means for understanding, we must have mutual contextual background. Tonight, I don't need anybody to force me to be in this gathering because we had understanding. We believe we are having time together by 8 o'clock. Then, what do I need? Look at it. I need data. I need a cool environment. I need a better place to do this. Then, many people don't prepare to understand the other person because of their emotional situation, their childhood experience, their experience. It could be media experience. It could be movie they've watched over and over that has conditioned their line of thought. You know, some people believe that ọkùnrin Ọlọ́run, that's Yoruba. It means men have no heaven. They are not going to heaven. Men are shit. Men, come on. Some will say all women are deceiver and pretender. If you have that mind, now there you go die. You will never understand your spouse. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That's bomb as highly expected, right? Now, you actually shake some table and I'm documenting it so that we can actually revisit it. People have experiences, and those experiences also influence the way they now communicate to their partner. These are some things we still need to really deal with. But then, you've also really laid emphasis on the fact that foundation really matters. Right? How do the relationship, start? How you actually understand each other person is when you pay attention to them in their best time, not the time they're actually angry and the likes. And those are salient points that I believe that everyone on this call, we are taking our time to pen it down, right? On this note, we're going to go to Mrs. Victoria. Can we hear from you? What's your take on this?
Okay, so the question is about understanding, right? So communication is not complete without proper understanding, and there are ways to understand your partner, and it's more of building a system. And we can use listening, empathy, and feedback. Those are the three key things we're going to look at: listening, empathy, active listening, empathy, and feedback. So active listening is just more of you putting your whole self into that conversation. So like you're trying to understand from what points your partner is coming from, right? So it's not just listening to, respond, right? Listening to respond is more of you already know what you want to tell that person. So you're just waiting for that person to finish talking and just give them a response. But when you actively listen, you're like listening and you're trying to think that where is this person coming from? Where is this person going to? What is this person trying to say? And where is he, where is he or she trying, or what is he or she trying to drive at, right? So when you listen actively, you would be able to know how to respond. And nowadays, as we have a social media, like we multitask a lot, and then we're talking to people, and I've seen some people talking on the phone, but they are still scrolling on their phone, through, Instagram reels and all that. That will not help active listening. So if you're going to be communicating properly, you want to leave whatever you're doing, right? And give that communication, that person, your time and attention. So that's that about active listening. Then when it comes to empathy, when you're listening, or when in that moment of listening, you want to use empathy to be able to respond, right? Don't just respond like, oh, it's your fault, or oh, you should know already, or I don't like how you just talk. You want to use empathy to respond, like try to get into that person's shoe. Try to get into their head. They might be talking, especially when Brother Kumayon already said that we women or we ladies like to talk a lot and we like to ask questions. So, and we know that, men are not wired that way. But in order to have effective communication, you have to be able to, sacrifice, you have to be able to, give your time and pay attention to her and try to listen and, give her some empathetic here and, listen without judging her or him, as the case may be. And the last one is feedback, right? Every communication needs a feedback. So feedback is more of reflecting on what that person just said and giving, a constructive answer, right? And if you don't have an answer to what that person just said, you can just say, you can validate what they've said and say, okay, I'm listening, I hear you, and I think you're right, or I don't have an answer to this particular thing at the moment, maybe later. And if you're not in the mood for communication, you can as well say, I'm not in the mood right now. Can we talk about this later? Or don't be afraid to share how you feel, right? And how, because it's part of communication, because you might not be happy. And when you respond, you're going to respond in a very harsh way. And the person might be thinking, I thought, we were having and the person might just also be thinking that, but what I just said did not require this type of answer. So you have to also listen to the intonation of your voice, right? You have to, try to hear yourself and say, how did I sound? Did I sound harsh? Did I sound gentle? Did I sound like I don't care? Or, you just want to listen to all these things. So in order to have a better understanding, like when you communicate and the other person understands you well, you want to use active listening, empathy, and feedback. All right, thank you.
Right, thank you very much.
Please, Mr. Moderator, let us confirm if people are actually understanding. My sister just mentioned A, E, F.
F.
What is the meaning?
All right, so let's get feedback from the audience.
Yes, AEF.
Mrs. Victoria just
let's begin
mentioned.
to see your typing. Let's begin to see your response in chat box. If you understand AEF, that my sister just give a way of understanding. But let me add this. Yes, E for empathy. That's my wife. Yeah, my wife. She's in the other room. The other room there. We're actually on a journey away. So she's in the other room. I'm in the other room. Okay, that's communication. Thank you, my wife. I will soon wrap up. I'm coming soon. Now, there is what we call attention getter. If you are communicating, attention getter. Every adult has a 20 minutes active listening lifespan. Research has confirmed that. Children have less. So if you want to engage in communication that will stay beyond that minute, so you need some attention getter. For instance, you can pause. If the person is actually listening, he will pay attention to you. What happened? 2, repetition is a way of attention getter. Yeah, active listening, empathy, and feedback. Correct. That means people are listening. So with that, we can proceed, my brother.
All right, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very, very much. Now, I actually have a follow-up question, right? Now, understanding the composition of a man and a woman. Men are more logical in person, and females are more emotional. And this has a very great impact on communication. When things happen, and I am addressing it from a logical perspective. As a matter of fact, I am having like an overview in a more holistic perspective, right? But somebody is still in the emotion of the whole situations, and you are trying your best to communicate, something at that point in time, and you realize that at the end of both of you, you'll be having a lot of back and forth, and at the end of the day, you realize that much later when the atmosphere is calm, you are not really disagreeing. It's still the same thing. But because somebody is being logical at the point, and while somebody is being emotional about the whole situation, it can make a mess of that very thing. How do we effectively manage situations like this? So, who will go first? Now, I don't know who to call first.
My sister will go first.
All right.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Yeah, so there's a saying that says two wrong cannot make it right? So since if the other person knows that, you're saying the same thing, but in a different way, right? You just want to validate what the other person is saying and say, yes, I understand, I get you. It's just that I'm coming from a different, like I'm explaining it in a different way, but we're still talking about the same thing. So it's just more of, just, letting the other person just, just accept, like, okay, I think I understand you. And if the person doesn't, if probably your partner doesn't, feel that you understand them, use their own words, use their own, choice of words. That way they get to understand that, okay, you really understand what you're saying. So maybe they, because sometimes you could, like, let me take for instance, in the UK, when you want to get a fuel, they call it fuel, right? But in the US, they call it gas, right? So fuel and gas, they are two different words, but they mean the same thing, right? So your partner might be using the word fuel, you might be using the word gas, and you're like, but I'm talking about fuel, I'm talking about gas. So what is going on? So since you know that it means the same thing, so you don't need to, continue to argue. You just want to accept and say, okay, I hear you and I understand. Oh, sorry, call it petrol, right? Thank you for leaving for that correction, petrol. So you just want to say, yeah, I understand you, and I think we're on the same page, right? And if you feel that the lady or the guy is not, is because sometimes the communication is not just in the words, it's also in the body language and sound of voice. So if you still feel that the person is not getting your point of view, just let them, use their own choice of words for better understanding. Yeah. Over to you, Sam.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. Mr. Kumayon, let's hear from you.
Yes, the best communication is through connection. When you are connected, definitely, you will definitely communicate effectively. I said earlier, communication in marriage is deeper than dictionary meaning. Yes, the way you look sends signals, especially when there is misunderstanding. So for me, communication is not enough, but connection. And when you talk about body language, thank you. Body language, the way you say things, the way you act. I've only met two persons that when their body language is different from what they are saying. So when they say one, they can do like this, they can show you like this, and they are saying one in their mouth, they are saying one. So there's a problem with their brain. There is no connection between the speech and so in a marriage, there must be correspondent, the words and action. And let me tell you, trust will make your communication effective. Trust. When you trust each other, wow, that is the point of connection. So, bro, you need connection for effective communication.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. The best communication is through connection. It's through connection. Amazing. I want to believe that everyone on this call, I want to believe that you are penning down these points. You are not allowing any of these points to actually slip off from our speaker. Okay, so now let's now address an issue of people being defensive. People being defensive. Why do people get defensive when in communication? I know Bro Kumayon just said something now and I want him to address it first, because I strongly believe that it has a way that can easily aid this problem. So, Mr. Kumayon, why do you think people get defensive when in communication, while communicating with people? And how do couples, people in relationship, in courtship, how can they avert this from happening?
All right. We let me say we build a system, especially in a context whereby before the teacher start the teaching, you already have a question. So you are not even listening. You already have a question for the teacher who has not even started anything. He just give you the topic, maybe introduction. You don't know what the body of communication is. You don't know the conclusion. You don't know, maybe your question will be addressed. You're already writing question. So in a way, that can be a problem. Our background can be a problem. 2, our experience can be a problem. That is why experience is not the best teacher. Experience is a late teacher. Now, how do we become so defensive? If you remove the background, if you remove the experience, we have what we call ego defense mechanism in psychology. Sigmund Freud was able to raise some issues that make us to want to defend ourselves. Even when you are caught like this, you still want to say something to tell the other person that I didn't really get it. How can we avoid that? Humility. Intentional humility. I mean intentional humility. Let us be Christ-like person. Let me shock you. When they brought a woman to Jesus, Jesus knew everything about that story. But he listened to them. After he listened to them, he asked them, if any of you have not been able, if you have not belonged to that group, you have not committed this, please, the person should first to cast stone on that woman. And when she said that, she did not leave them. She was writing something on the floor. And somebody says she's writing the law, the 10 commandments. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not. When Jesus will raise up his head, he discovered that everybody has run away. Now, if you are here tonight, if you are suffering from your background, you have experienced shattered, scattered, assassinated relationship, please, you can't succeed until you are break from that past, that background. 1. 2, if you have been in a system that you are taught to always defend, even when you are caught, please, that cannot be Christian behavior. You should learn. You should please manage. You don't pretend to calm down. James will tell us, quick to hear, slow to speak. Thank you.
Oh, wow, 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 wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. If you are listening and you're on this call, please don't miss this point. Don't miss this point. It's just one person that I'm seeing that she's engaging with us in the chat box. Thank you so much, Mrs. Oluwafisayo Funmi Kumayon. All right, thank you very much. So let's hear from Mrs. Victoria. So let's hear your 2 cents on this. Please unmute your mic. Please unmute your mic.
Okay, thank you. So how to avoid being defensive, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, it's everything Bro Kumayo has mentioned. And another, thing you can do is to ask clarifying questions, right? So instead of feeling that the other person is attacking you, attacking your personality, attacking your trust level, or, more like, attacking who you are, instead of just, jumping into conclusion, you might just want to ask clarifying questions. So if say for instance, if your partner is saying something to you and you feel, they're attacking you, you can just say, oh, is this what you said? Is this what you're trying to say? Is this what you mean? When you ask those questions, it will help you to get a response that will make you know what to actually now say, or know how to respond, or it will help you to avoid being defensive. And also, if you know that, what that person is saying is true, just admit it. Like Bro Kumayon said, just let humility rule. Admit it, and, If you need to apologize, apologize. If you need to make corrections, do that. And if you need to just, there's nothing wrong in being vulnerable and being real. And also you can even take your partner as an accountability partner and say, okay, you're right about that, but I will need help with that. I'll need help to make corrections to this thing. So if I'm doing this thing again, please call my attention to it. Let me know. Because sometimes I don't know. I just do it without, knowing. So it's okay to, just admit it, right? You don't need to be defensive about it. You don't need to argue, or you don't need, and most people try to sweep a lot of things. Admit the truth, yes. So most people try to sweep a lot of things under the carpet, and that's why they're being defensive. Or maybe they don't want you to know them fully, so they're trying to dismiss whatever it is. So just if you feel others are attacking you, instead of defending yourself, ask for clarification. And if you feel that they are wrong, try to explain yourself in a humble and open manner. You don't have to be, you don't have to be angry just because they're saying the truth, or just because they didn't get you right. You don't have to be defensive. Just come open, come clear, and explain it in a different way for the other person to understand. So yeah, thank you. Over to you.
All
sir.
right, thank you very much for sharing that with us. We've also buttressed at the points Mr. Kumayon, mentioned, and I want to believe that everyone on this call, we are taking notes. Okay. Now, so here's the next question that I have with me. Do you think that when we have to demand for some sort, okay, let me rephrase this question. Do you think that people should there should be, at any point, people should ask for attention, right? Do you think people should really ask for attention? They are partners, right? They are couples, they are lovers and all that. Do you think people should ask for attention? And if people do, when people ask for attention, does that make them needy or clingy? How do we address it? Mr. Kumayon, come to our rescue.
I think it's pertinent in my premarital counseling. Two basic needs of man and woman. Woman need affection and attention. It's a need, it's not want. It's not want. Our want can be insatiable. You may want this one, that one. I mean need. A car need fuel or petrol or gas to move. No matter how sound the engine is, you need that to start and move. You may move without a tire. You may move with a rim if there is fuel in the engine, but you can't start the engine that has no fuel. So fuel is a need for a car. Now, a woman needs attention and affection. And let me say it for every man on this platform. And if this is being recorded, those that will listen to it again. If you don't give your wife attention and affection, she will look for it somewhere else if you are not careful. My wife doesn't disturb me when I come home. He will chat with somebody who listen to her, who give her attention, who give her affection, somebody who she will talk her mind, and the person will not get angry. She will always, it is their need. I'm pleading with you. It is attention and affection. Now, they don't need to demand for it. It is their need. But if we are not doing well, they should politely, let me say this. Thank God my wife is here. I remember 2021. I was running a program and I have to read, because I was saying I want to experience what first class student experience. So I will read. That semester I have 5.00. I clear all the courses A. But guess what happened? My wife asked me, he said, my husband, have you married? See the question. Can you imagine the question? Look at the question. Oh, my husband, have you married? I was, what type of question is this? I said, yes, now. Who do you marry to? I said, you, of course. He said, no. You have married to books. Throughout the day, you are in office, you read. After evening devotion, you watch 10 o'clock news, you return back, you come back 4 o'clock to the house. You are married to the book. When last did you even touch me? My head. I say, hey, make somebody not carry my wife, oh, I beg you. So I say, I'm very sorry. I'm going to regulate. So that is a request. But it's her need. Thank you.
Wow, wow. Now, sir, you can't go yet. You can't go yet. You can't go yet. That table, you can't go yet. Now,
I'm here.
you've mentioned two major needs of a woman: attention and affection, right?
Yes.
So let's balance it. I know you always like to leave things, in such a way that if you don't pay attention, you don't go with that. But don't worry, me, like my attention is there. So let's address it. So what are the two basic needs of a man? So let's address that too.
All right. The two basic needs of a man is RS, sex and respect. The woman is AA, attention and affection. The man's own is sex and respect. Do you know why some men sleep with their country? They sleep with people around because those people respect them. In most cases, when people get married, some careless women, they will disrespect their husband because they are married. That man needs respect. I mean, needs it. He needs it. He needs sex. They will say, especially when your husband is sanguine, God, he may not eat your food you cook in the kitchen. He needs sex. I mean, sex. All he's thinking is sex. And if you deny your sanguine husband sex, please don't cite any Bible passage, because the closest you can cite is 1 Corinthians 7. And the condition not to have sex is when you are fasting. And Paul warned us that it should be for a short time so that Satan will not tempt you. So a man needs respect and sex. If you are abusing your husband at home, oh, somebody in the office, hello, welcome, sir. How was your night? Oh, well, your eyes look reddish. What happened? Oh, I say, okay, no problem, no problem. Okay, oh, maybe we should go to lunch. Oh, you go to lunch, come on. You go to lunch, they discuss. Wow, when you come home, that woman is there. He's doing shakara for you. You don't come, Abi, you go see what I will show you. Shebi, you come, you don't come and see, so. No, let me not speak English. Let me stop there. Thank you.
Hey, it's okay. Mrs. Victoria, over to you. Let's hear from you. Please unmute.
All right, sorry about that. So we're talking about attention, right? We need to strike a balance here, just like Bro Kumayon mentioned. And when it comes to attention, I'll say that expressing your need is very, very healthy, right? Because when your needs are not met, you cannot be happy, right? And it's going to affect your communication. So, and for you to be happy and for your needs to be met, you need to communicate, right? So don't be scared to say what you need and say how you want to be treated. So, some people are just, might just feel like, if I say it, I'm not sure if he's going to understand. I'm not sure what response I'm going to get. I'm not sure if he's going to feel that I'm being too clingy or being too needy. So, but we should understand that if we don't ask, the Holy Scripture says, the Word of God says, ask and it shall be given unto you, right? So if you don't ask, there's no way your partner is going to know what you need, and there's no way your needs will be met, right? So, in order to, make sure that because attention, just like you said, it's a need, right? It's a need of a woman, right? So if you want her to feel loved and appreciated, you have to give her that attention by listening to her, by meeting her needs, right? And it's not just understanding what she wants, you have to put it into action, right? Your faith without work is dead. So it's not just knowing it, but you have to act on it, right? It's not just knowing that your partner needs affection, your girlfriend needs what's it called? Attention. It's not just knowing. You have to sacrifice your time to give them. So same for a need of a man. It's not just okay to know that your man needs sex or respect. You have to show it. You have to put it into action, right? By, giving that no, now it's a relationship. We're talking about a relationship now, but if you know that, okay, in a relationship, you can, you're not married and you can't give sex, you know that, okay, he needs respect, right? So you want to be able to make sure that you're giving that respect, right? So, yeah, that's just basically how it goes. We need to be able to communicate what our needs are, and we have to be willing to meet those needs by sacrificing our time and attention for that. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Victoria. Thank you so much for also sharing your perspective on this subject. And I want to believe I can see the chat box, I can see the chat box is on fire. It's all right. I'm coming to that chat box. So let's talk about if he wants, he would. How do we manage our expectations in relation to thoughtfulness? Now, in the chat box, Mrs. Kumayon said something, said, expressing your needs. Say how you want to be treated. Now, there's this thing, I know men, we are guilty of this, right? Stuff like, what is, I don't get to know what's in your head. If you want it, you talk about it and you get it. Like, you didn't talk about it, so how do you expect me to, like, really? I'm not God, of course, right? So, I know Bro Kumayon will not be our savior tonight, because he will give it to us as expected. So, Mr. Kumayon, so how do we manage our expectations in relation to thoughtfulness? We want people to, to be able to think independently and just know that this is what they are supposed to do, right? And how do we treat these things? And sometimes when people don't get to do those things, maybe those things that are in our head, right? People feel disappointed. Sometimes people don't really feel loved, and all of this kind of thing. How do we manage all of these things? And some people don't even see that as a big deal. Like, need something, talk about it. You get it. And if I don't have, I'll tell you I don't have. So how do you manage this?
Okay, how do we manage our expectation? Well, we have a different expectation to me. You may have a spiritual expectation, you may have financial expectation, emotional expectation, all the expectations. How can we meet it? We discuss it. 2, the first is discuss it. 2, be naked. Be naked. In a relationship, say both of them are naked, they are not ashamed. But at a point, they were ashamed because they have entered into trouble. When you are naked, when you are open, you are transparent, there are things that the other party who is asking from you is asking possibly because he or she does not know that I do not have it. But if you are open, you are naked, you are transparent, expectation can be harnessed together. Oh, okay, we need to get this for the family, upkeeping. We need to get a bag of rice. We are expecting visitor next week. Okay? Let us do it this way. Let's get half of it. And let us get half of beans. If before this we finish, we are going to do this. That's one. The one that we don't talk about most is spiritual expectation. Some of partner, they want their wife or their husband to be spiritually inclined, but they are not engaging their partner in that field, in that area. I want my wife to be spiritually minded, but you are not engaging her spiritually. There's no spiritual engagement, there's no spiritual assignment, there's no spiritual text, there's no spiritual, okay, my wife, I want you to go and read Bible now. I'm going to help you to do this in the kitchen or whatever. You see, we can manage our situation by discussing it, be naked, then ready to help. That's the third one. Now, sexual expectation, people don't talk about it. Some, they are horse. Some, they are he-goat. Some, not in negative, I mean. Yeah. Some are horse. Some are he-goat. Some are snail. Snail is the most romantic animal I've ever seen. If you see how they meet, it's very fantastic. But let's leave that for now. So, sexual expectation. People don't discuss their sexual relationship. They don't discuss at what point do you reach orgasm? What are do's and don'ts? If I do like this, what do you mean? Do you enjoy it? People don't discuss it. So over years, couple harbor something in their mind. And the more they harbor it, the more they look like what they harbor. And over time, what they harbor will make them to run mental illness that will lead to clinical depression or reactive depression. So I will say tonight, discuss it, be naked, be transparent, ready to help. Then you are okay. Thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very, very much. Be open, be transparent, be willing to help. Okay. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. As Mrs. Victoria will be addressing the same question, sharing her perspective, I want to add a question to that, right? I want us to be done by 10 o'clock. Okay. So now there's a question I have here again. You are going to answer it alongside with this, okay? Now, what are the key indicators of unhealthy communication? And what are the key indicators of healthy communication? How do we know that this communication is unhealthy? What are those indicators? How do we know that this communication is healthy? So in a very brief way, help us to address it so that we can also, can hear your take on this.
All right, thank you, Sam. So so two questions. The first one is about expectation, and the next one is about healthy communication. So there's a phrase that says expectation is a steal of joy, right? So there's nothing wrong in being expectant, right? But if you're expecting something, like you have an expectation, if you don't communicate those expectations, then you're going to be wallowing in you know, in you know, in in you know, should I call it sadness, or you're not going to be happy because you've not been able to communicate your expectations, and the other person is not a mind reader, right? So the other person can know what your needs are. So in order for your expectations to be met, right, the first step is to communicate those expectations. And I also want to, talk to our ladies and everybody here that we also need to know the difference between expectation and reality, right? Because sometimes, for those watching K drama and maybe movies or social media or internet, you know, those platforms, those movies, those social media platform or whatever is happening on there can make us start to have this type of expectation that in reality it cannot be met, right? So it cannot be met in reality. Like, take for instance, you're on social media, you see how someone got married on the moon or in the stars or on the ocean, and you're in Nigeria and you're like, oh, I want that type of wedding. You're not facing your reality that it's not possible, right? So you can have expectation of this is how you want your wedding to be, this is how you want this is how you want your boyfriend to propose to you. You have those expectations, but in reality, you might not get it. So you have to be able to know the difference, just like I saw in the chat. You have to be able to know the difference between if those expectations are, they're like worthwhile, if is worth having, and if they can really be met, right? So you won't be shooting yourself in the legs and having this expectation and it's not being met, and probably you have not even communicated in a good way, and you feel like, oh, they don't understand me, or why can't this person just be in my head, So, but then there's a place for thoughtfulness, right? The thoughtfulness is just, it comes from a place where you have totally understand who you are in a relationship with. So if you know their personality, their likes, their dislike, if you truly know who they are, you can come from that place of thoughtfulness to be able to say, oh, if I do this, my girlfriend will be happy. Or if I just, surprise my girlfriend, she'll be happy. If I just, do things for her without, calling her attention to it or without making a big noise about it, she will love it. So you can do things thoughtfully, and it's a lot of things when you do them being thoughtful, it speaks it speaks volume, it speaks love, to a woman or to a man, because it makes them feel like you've been thinking about them, right? You've even though you're apart, you're separate, while you guys are still separate, they're still thinking about you, because you're thinking of ways to make you happy, ways to make your relationship work, ways to to build that connection. Yeah, so that's that about that. And I'll move to the next one, which is key indicators of healthy communications and unhealthy communication. So I'll talk about the unhealthy communication first, and I'll use the 10 signs of knowing if you're having unhealthy communication. And the first thing is listening to respond, which is we've mentioned earlier on. Like, you're just listening to that conversation you are having and you already have a response in your head, right? And you're not, just like we mentioned, you're jumping into conclusion without actively listening to what that person is saying and trying to know where they're coming from and where they're going to. So if you listen to respond and you're not listening to understand, that's unhealthy way of communicating. Another one is interrupting, not interrupting and without letting that person finish their point of, your point of view or their thought process. You didn't let them finish and you're just jumping in. That's a sign of a bad unhealthy communication. Another one is getting distracted, just like we mentioned earlier, with social media or with whatever. So maybe you're distracted and you're not present. You're not present in that conversation, and that's unhealthy. Another one is yelling, like raising your voice, or reacting to things in a bad way, or reacting to conversations either through your body language or through your voice, through the sound of your voice, either one. So by being defensive, which is what we mentioned earlier on, and also being verbally offensive, that's an unhealthy way of communicating. Another one is stonewalling, right? When you just decide not to respond and you're giving silent treatment. Excuse me, if you keep, giving that silent treatment, you cannot, you can't solve any problem, or you can't have a effective conversation if you've decided to shut in and keep quiet, right? So you have to be able to, it's okay to, take a break and give yourself some time. It's okay to try to know how to put your words together, right? It's okay to do all of that. So, but don't extend it. Don't make it too long. Just try to, even communicate that, like, okay, this conversation, I'm going to take my time to give you a response. Don't just go without, saying anything. Another one is avoiding difficult conversation, like that's very, very unhealthy. So if you know that you're having a conversation that it's not, you can, just like I mentioned, you can take a break and say, okay, this conversation, let's come back to it. We can talk about this later. If we keep talking about it now, I'm not going to, it's not going to, the result might not come out well. So let's take a break, let's just take a deep breath and come back to this conversation later. That would be a solution to avoiding difficult conversation. And some are often in the business of blaming their partner. That's very, very unhealthy. They look for other people to blame instead of accepting, accepting whatever it is, if accepting their fault, or accepting that they are to be blamed, but instead they want to blame other people. That's unhealthy. Poor intelligence, emotional intelligence, which is not knowing how to communicate your feelings, your thoughts, not knowing how to say how you feel and how you want to be treated, not knowing when to say it and how to say it is all in the poor emotional intelligence, which is an ineffective way to communicate. Another one is lack of empathy, not paying attention to their emotions, right? And this is very common with very self-centered people. So they try to just probably also use logic for everything, right? It's okay to come from a place of logic, but at the same time, you also use empathy as well. So let me see what I've not mentioned. Let me see. So let's move to healthy communication. How to have an healthy communication is using active listening, which I've mentioned before. Be open, be honest, give constructive feedback. Try to know how to use your choice of words in a way that it will be acceptable, and it won't be it will make the other person feel like you're attacking them. And another one is, being consistent and be clear with your words, right? Don't, try to look for a way to make sure that you're being consistent with your request and you're not beating around the bush, right? Don't just, you want A, but you're saying B, or you're running in a circle without getting to the main point. So, so if you're talking about, just like Bro Kumayon mentioned, spiritual needs, financial needs, emotional needs, sexual expectations, you have to be able to, talk about those things plainly and clearly without, beating around the bush and wasting your time. So I'll stop at that and
All right.
over to you, Sam. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. That was quite detailed and lengthy. Thank you so very much. Thank you so much, Mrs. Kumayon, for dropping those salient points in the chat box. Even if someone got distracted with this, I believe that everyone is following through. All right. I want to hear from Mr. Kumayon. What's your 2 cents on this? And I have a follow-up question, but please quickly share your thoughts on this question.
Okay. Indicators of unhealthy relationship. First, indicators. If you marry wrong person, you will become a philosopher. You will philosophize everything. If you marry a good person, as a man, you'll be known at the gate. If you read Proverbs 31, they personify wise women, virtuous woman. They say her husband is noticed at the gate. When people gather, how to know that this person is in an unhealthy relationship is what they speak about the opposite sex, what they speak about the marriage institution. Is an indicator whether their marriage is healthy or not. What are the expectations? What are the indicators for healthy marriage? It's just to know what happened at the summer or spring. Excitement, anticipation. You want to see yourself. You are not in haste with each other. When you see a man always in haste, or a woman always in haste, it shows that the relationship is unhealthy. Because time is a critical indication of a healthy home. Time you spend together, quality time. It may not be your love language, but time is an indicator of a healthy or unhealthy marriage or relationship or communication. We are living in the world whereby we are in a rush time. Come on, you are eating, you are walking, you are rushing, and we rush inside grief. So, time. For those who have not married, listen. I want to beg you, if you have not married, how do you know that this person is really in love with you? Time. If he's always in hate, hello, okay, I will call you back every time. Okay, okay, yeah, say, I'm listening. Okay, all right, say all the time. I beg you, shift your waist. If not, it go break down for you. All right. What is follow-up question?
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So here's the next question. So we want to talk about Cold War. Now, here is a Cold War in relationship. So the concept means when there is a fight between couples, but they still don't deprive themselves of the basic needs, like asking, how is your day going? How you doing? And the likes. Is it healthy? And how should that be addressed?
War. Yes, it happens in marriage. I said last 2 months or so. It happens in my marriage too. Where it's a cold war, we are not angry. We do okay, we respond normal, but we know that there's a war. Oh my God, my wife, you understand? Let me say this. The mature person will always make a move to stop a cold war. The move may be coded.
Mhm.
It may not be verbal conversation. Some will be a signal, a sign. That last month, something happened. I don't know. We're talking, but we knew that there's a cold war coming. See, my wife is most humble person. Me, I'm a bad guy. I don't easily shift ground. So my wife will be the one that will quickly make the move, and that's why she's mature more than me. So me, I want to remain. I'm the man. She, if you like, she's tired. She will come and talk to me. She will now talk to me. And most times she wake me in the midnight. Can we talk? Yes. God. Can we talk? Yeah, we talk. Please, when Cold War continue beyond normal, both of you become abnormal. And it will affect your mental health. It will affect your business. If you are schooling, it will affect it. It will affect your children. It will affect your relationship with God, brethren, colleagues. So, how long can this Cold War continue? It should not more than 3 days at most. 3 days at most. This Cold War, you pray, you do devotion, you do normal thing, but you knew something is wrong. This is not our normal way. If you call, we pick call, hello, okay, I've gotten to work, yeah. I think my own. Normally, when my wife say I'm going to work, I say that's good. Okay. I think that time when she say I've gotten to work, I say okay. I say yeah. I say that the language will change somehow. So the mature one should swift, because that is a way Satan can penetrate into your relationship. And carelessly, some people have destroyed their relationship from Cold War to hot war, from hot war to Third World War.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Kumayon, for sharing that with us. Let's have your 2 cents. Mrs. Victoria, what do you think?
All right, thank you. I'll start from where Bro Kumayo stopped. And so it's more of you can know if you're experiencing Cold War by the communication. So communication is not just talking, like we mentioned, is more of actively listening to body gesture, sound of voice, body language. So if you're talking on the phone and you know that, okay, you have a particular way of talking and this person is sounding cold, this person is not sounding like they're all right, then you might want to know that, okay, there's something going on, right? So it's also being sensitive to each other's feelings, right? And knowing that, something is right or something is wrong. And, another thing is making effort to resolve it, right? Like Brother Kumayon mentioned, that you have to, be brave, right? And you have to be brave. You have to look for ways to resolve the problem, right? And it doesn't matter who comes first. It doesn't matter. It could be the man that will make that, move. It could be the woman. Someone has to make the move first, right? If whoever, it could come. It doesn't matter if it's just the man that is making the move or if it's just the woman that is making the move. It can come at from any angle, depending on the situation. So just be brave to make that move and to just speak it. Even after you've finished that conversation, you can just call again and say, we just finished talking, but I could I could, sense from your voice that something is wrong. Are you okay? Is there anything wrong? Did I say something that annoyed you? Or, make that move, because sometimes you might not know what has made that person angry or sad. And don't be afraid to apologize. Sometimes you might not even be the one that is wrong, right? But because you want peace, you want joy, you want, that, connection again, you might just want to apologize. And through that apology, you might get to understand maybe what is going on. Or, oh, I'm so sorry if I said something that annoyed you, even though you know that, well, what did I say? Right? If you know that, okay, what did I just say that got her angry now? Maybe for a guy, you're like, what did I say that just made her started acting like that? Oh, I'm sorry if I said something that made you angry. And you'll be like, okay, this person is considerate. You can feel that, oh, this person is considerate, this person wants to make things right. Okay, so be sensitive to each other's feelings, be brave, to apologize and make effort to resolve the problem, and pay attention to each other's feelings. Yeah.
All
Over to you,
right.
sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. To everyone on this call, I want to believe that you are learning just as I am learning as well. Right. Thank you very much. And to everyone engaging in the chat box, right, and to everyone who are still on the call till this time. So let's quickly, we are rounding up already. Okay. So just stay with us for a little long, for a little while rather. So now we just have 2 questions to go. Now, this is the second to the last question. Don't let sun go down on your wrath. Does this concept apply to relationship? Do you consider it important that every conflict has to be dissolved or resolved, this very day that it happened? Or you think that it may require some time? So let me give you a background to it, right? Now, some people believe that, see, you should resolve every issue before bedtime. And some people believe that this process has, however, made some couples to rub off their emotions and feelings too quickly and not giving enough room to nurse or heal from them. Subconsciously, they don't leave, or they will appear, they will always appear when there's a reoccurrence, right? You realize that those issues resurface, right? So we've always been hearing people talking about the need, why it's very essential that couples don't go to bed angry. People in relationship talk about these issues, dissolve it as soon as possible and all of that. So how do you properly manage this? Does it have to be, it happens today, you have to resolve it today, or we can sleep over it, then tomorrow, because of people believe that, you need time to think about it, you need time to heal from it, you need time to, some emotional. So what's your take? Mr. Kumayon, over to you.
All right. Thank you. It depends on the conflict. For instance, a man or a woman who cheated on the partner and he or she is caught. I mean, caught. If you can say the sun should not go down, the sun will go far. So you see, the reality is that to build back the trust, it's not an issue of before we go to bed. You mean cheated? Come on, that's a mess. So for the spouse, the other partner, to reprocess his or her mind, to even accept you, my brother, that person, in short, sometimes needs help, somebody to talk with, somebody to share with the situation. If not, it can last for generations. So don't allow sun to go down. Simply means you can resolve in your mind. I'm not going too far with this matter, but the issue is not yet addressed. So until the issue is addressed, okay, somebody cheated, and he's telling you, am I the only one? I'm sorry now. It's a mistake. It's a devil work. You understand? So do you think the sun should go down? Thank God, the sun that is used is a symbolic. That is, when the matter is still hot, the sun is not yet going down. Until the matter is resolved, that's when the sun has gone down. So the small issue can take a little time, but a bigger issue can take longer time. And I want to plead, relationship and communication can only be sustained by trust. Every time you breach trust, you are debiting your trust account. And the more you debit your trust account, the more the trust is reducing. But when you say something and you achieve it and you do it worthwhile, you are crediting that trust account. So the day a husband and wife come together, agree to marry, they open one single account. That is trust account. That trust account is not in any bank. It's in your heart. Oh, I trust my husband. I trust my wife. What he says is true. When he says we have little, it is true. When you have that trust and we are truthful, you see, your relation with your wife should center your relation with God. So if you know that you cannot offend God, so you will not offend your spouse. So some people live double life. The relation with God separate, the relation with their spouse separate. So they keep some things secret that they know that is affecting the marriage. You understand? So there are critical issues. Okay, what about somebody who poisoned the spouse, but the spouse discover it? Maybe, I don't know, through CCTV camera, I discovered that, wow, my wife poisoned this food and you did not eat it. How long will it take to start eating that the food of that person? You know, even if you eat the right one without poison and you're having running stomach, you will say, God, this person has done it to me again. How long? The time is between the relationship and the two people who are involved. Their level of maturity, their level of their mental health. If you break my heart first time, second time, third time, and say sun should not go down, okay, rain will follow. Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that your submission. Okay, please let's hear from you,
All right, when it comes to sun going down on words, so and I like the example you use, which is about bedtime scenario. So it depends on the conflict, right? It depends on the problem at hand. There are some problems that you might need to solve them right away, and there are some that you might need to take your time and give it some careful thought to know how to address those issues. So, and I would like to say also that it depends on individuals and the couple. It depends on both of them what they've agreed to do. So if you know that, okay, your husband or your spouse or your partner is going to work the next day and you're feeling like, okay, we must sort that problem tonight before we sleep. Excuse me, he's going to work the next day. So there are some issues that you just want to be like, okay. Also, it takes the part of the man or the woman as well to validate and acknowledge that, okay, I know you're sad, or I know we are mad, or I know that we have an issue to resolve. Let's take time off, or let's take a break. We can resolve it at this day, at this time, at this hour, or when I come back from work. Just communicate, right? And also be understanding that, okay, it's not every issue that can be solved right away, right? He's going to work, or she's going to work, so there won't be time to be staying up late night, or there won't be time to wake up in the middle of the night. But even if he's waking up in the middle of the night, as long as both parties have agreed to that and it works for them, so it depends on both partner and what they've agreed on. Then wisdom of God is needed, right, to be able to resolve some issues. You need the wisdom of God. There's some issues that you just want to pray about it before you open your mouth to address it, because if you address it based on your own personality, based on your own, you might turn the situation to yam scatter with pepper and all that. So you want to pray and ask for the wisdom of God to be able to know how to address those issues, and how to place it in simple terms for your partner to understand. Another thing is to, maybe in your relationship, you want to do a relationship check, or maybe in your marriage, you want to go on a date. At those moments, you can talk about whatever you've been experiencing, you've been going through. You want to, create time to talk about things that has not gone well with you in the past week. So, because the longer you pile those things up or sweep them under the carpet, the more you have issues in your relationship. So as much as you're waiting to say it, don't wait too long, right? Don't wait too long to say it. And just like we said, there's some things you address right away, and there's some things you have to take your time to address it. And be observant, right? Be observant, pay attention to all these things. And also, another point, that I also like to, mention, especially to the ladies, is to pick your battle, right? It's not everything that, can be resolved or can be, so sometimes you have to pick your battle, especially when you notice that you've been talking about that particular thing for a long time. If you're mentioning the same problem over and over again, and the guy is like, oh, I'm going to change. Okay, I'm working on it. Mind you, it takes time to correct an habit or, a behavior. But if you notice that this person just keeps saying the same thing and the same thing, sometimes maybe that's just who the person is. And sometimes you might not change, you especially when you are not even married, right? You might not be able to change that person. So maybe that's a red flag you're seeing and you're not paying attention to. So try to understand, give them some time to resolve that issue or to work on whatever it is. But if you notice that, if you observe that the issue is not being resolved, you might just want to not waste your time. Maybe that's who the person is. Maybe that's who she is. Maybe that's who he is. And maybe they can't just help themselves, and there's nothing really they can do about it. So just, use the wisdom of God to address, those situations. All right, over to you, Sam.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you, everyone, for the nice session. It's really been great and insightful. A lot of things. We've really tried to unpack a lot of things, and I believe strongly that all of us have learned one or two things tonight. So before we round up, let's have some parting thoughts, right? So as we round up, what are your parting thoughts for each and every one of us on this call tonight, right? Then after which we get feedback from our people if we have questions, one or two or something. So Star Victoria, go first.
All right, so my parting thought would be that we need to, give each other, time and space and understanding. We need to know that we are from different backgrounds. Yeah, your partner, your girlfriend or boyfriend is from a different home. You are from a different home and from a different background. So you have different upbringing, apart from, you're being trained by parents in the lost church, or maybe as a Christian. The environment too has a way of shaping people. So you have to understand that, you can't just expect that the other person would act like you, even though they know you, like you've communicated how you want to be loved, how you want to be. So you still have to give grace that, okay, there's some things that can be easy for some people. It might take work on the part of others to work on it. So just, give space and time, and let situation heal themselves. Understand that your partner is from you're not from the same background or the same upbringing, and communication might, take some time for you to understand each other. And yeah, that's just it. Just take your time, communicate clearly, effectively, and try to pray. God can help you to know what to say, how to say, and when to say. All right.
All right, thank you very much, Sister Victoria, for sharing that with us. And this note we hear from Kumayon Kumasi. Over to you.
Yeah. Marriage is a full-time job. If you are looking for part-time, please don't get married. Thank you.
Okay, marriage is a full-time job. If you're looking for a part-time, you don't have business getting married. It's all right. Thank you very much, Sir and Ma, for your time, for your knowledge and the insights that you shared with us tonight. I've really been blessed. I've really been impacted because we've been able to examine critically questions of concerns as to how we can effectively enhance our communication in our relationship. And we've been able to look at how do we address unrealistic expectations, how do we understand when we are communicating effectively or not. We've been able to understand the need for us to discuss our expectations. How do people's temperaments, and the likes, how does it influence the way they talk, the way they relate to people? We've spoken about causes of being defensive, right? And how should we avoid it? We've laid emphasis on the need for humility. We've laid emphasis on the fact that we need to realize that at the foundation of effective communication is trust. And once that breach of trust, once you actually breach it, it's going to take you a whole lot of effort. It's going to take you a whole lot of time. God knows when, you really be able to bridge the gap that you've created. Well, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to believe that you've been blessed just as much as I have been blessed tonight. Please, if you have been blessed, can I see your reactions? Can I see your thank you message, your thank you emojis and everything in the chat box? Let's express our gratitude to our facilitators tonight. And as we do this, we want to take one or two questions before we call it a wrap. Please, if you have any question, please, let's bring it on.